We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one where Spider-Man shows up on the last page. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and joined by the Ted Lasso and my co Spirit, Chris Evans. Chris, how you doing?
Good. I have my eyebrows. How are you doing?
Yeah. I wasn't sure. There was rumors going around.
I understand. I was going to cosplay as Jared Leto's Joker, but I decided not to.
Yeah. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you'll find us right there. What's up, Ian, Cookie, Phil, Zeddy? Thanks for making your comment, buddy. How's everybody doing on this fine Sunday evening?
I thought that was a dinosaur at first.
I think it's Japan. Yeah, I thought it was what did it look like? A snake or something?
Or a snake. Or my mind also went to the Loch Ness Monster, so it was like, oh, that's Nessie. It is not
Nessie. Yeah,
I think that is Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Sunday. Glad the eyebrows are intact for tonight.
We'll see how you never know what can happen. Yeah, well, yeah, you never know how the show's going to go.
I was promised Chris's eyebrows were to be shaved. Maybe we'll have to not do this another time.
Maybe we'll never do this again.
Yeah, no, I don't know about no eyebrows. Oh my! All right.
There's a hashtag. There you go, Matthew Anderson. Thank you, sir.
No. I'm sure we can find somebody else humiliating.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of an agenda, a couple topics for the show. We're going to be talking about what's coming up in 2024 that kind of has us a little bit excited. So we're going to look ahead a bit, but before that, we're going to look back a bit. Last show, we did our best of 2023, but we kind of glazed over the fact that we had 2-3 weeks of content that we had watched and read. So, Chris, what'd you get up to the last little while and reading and watching of things? Come on, tell me something.
Oh,
I come on, give me something.
I had already forgotten everything during the break.
Yeah.
Well, I read Moon Knight.
Just focus on this week.
I read Vengeance of Moon Knight.
There you go.
That was good. So Vengeance of Moon Knight takes place. I don't think we talked about this. It takes place after the finale of Jen McKay's Moon Knight. So that was pretty good. I know I read some other stuff during Christmas. I don't know. This week, though, I read a bunch of stuff. I read, I just went blank. I'm sorry. Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes, that is the name of the show.
Yes, I read Ultimate Spider-Man. I really like that. I know you didn't, but I think that for me, I don't read much Spider-Man. I've read Spider-Man here and there. I thought, oh, okay, that's cool. But it was always too complicated, and I could not get into it. Like every time there's a number one, it's a damn lie. It is not a number one. It's like a number 1.72 or something.
Yeah, like legacy number 7,000.
Right, it's a lie. So Ultimate Spider-Man number one plays like a natural number one would, I think. There is a little bit of an intrigate, I would say, but it does a decent job of explaining it. So I'm okay with it. And I imagine that we'll learn more about it as it goes on. But I really like the character stuff in it. I love the art. I think the art is fantastic.
Yes.
I like the story itself. And I actually thought the reveal was cool, even if I don't totally understand the ball thing. I really don't get that. But I think Ultimate Spider-Man 1 is pretty solid.
Yeah, so I'm with you in that I don't read a lot of Spider-Man, hardly ever. And I was confused as hell with this issue. Specifically like their opening little Marvel, previously on that Marvel does, where the first thing they're talking about is the Maker. And I have no idea who the Maker is.
I don't know.
Right out the gate, I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. And then as I'm reading it, reading that little how-to or whatever, Peter Parker's not Spider-Man. I'm like, oh, okay, he's not Spider-Man. It's fine. We'll see how this goes. And I'm just reading more of it. And much like you, I love the art. It looks great. But for me, as a casual Spider-Man fan who's not looking for a deconstruction of the character, if that's the right word for it or not, but I was just looking for a cool Spider-Man story. And from what I had read of past Ultimate Spider-Man with the Miles Morales story from Bendis, and then the other Peter Parker Ultimate Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man from what I know. So it just in a roundabout way, not having Peter Parker be Spider-Man was just not something that I was interested in. As well as the Ben Parker stuff, again, not something that I know and I was expecting, and then not something that I wanted as well. Like the family stuff, I love the family stuff.
Mhm.
Like I love the progression of Peter and Mary Jane with kids and all of that stuff. But just when I'm reading Marvel, who's someone who's not a big Marvel fan, I just want to read the characters more or less as they are. I don't want something different. I just want Peter Parker Spider-Man. I just want a Spider-Man story, a good Spider-Man story. And I was okay with the progression, like I said, with the family, but just something about Peter Parker not being Spider-Man, whoever this maker is, no idea. So just a little bit off for me, and not something that had me interested, even with the big reveal at the end, to go back to for the second issue.
See, I'm completely sold for the next issue because I want to see how this pans out. Also, I think that the second issue, the cover has a nice tease of what's to come. So I'm really interested in that too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a spoiler. It's Green Goblin's on the cover,
Sure.
and we know Norman is dead.
Right.
So I assume Norman was never the Green Goblin, but I don't know. Frank says, I'm currently reading Ultimate Invasion. Ultimate Spider-Man makes more sense. I dug the issue. Okay, so is that the homework that we need, Frank, to read that?
Oh, Marvel homework.
Marvel always has homework, except like Blade, I think, is the easiest book I've read recently. Blade and Moon Knight really are just simple.
Right.
I won't count Wolverine versus Predator because, I mean, it's we talked about before. There's no need for any story.
Yeah.
You just have this constant combat, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Before we get to more comics, there's a little discussion about Echo going on in the comments.
I see
Ian
that.
says Echo sucks, Monarch rocks, and For All Mankind is a freaking masterpiece. That is a quick, like, rapid fire review system there.
That's Ian right there. Get all you need in a couple sentences.
Phil says Echo is not interest to me. Probably watch it at some point. Anthony says Echo is indicative of the decline of the MCU post Endgame, in my opinion. Just utter lack of interest. Have you watched any of Echo?
No, and I'm with his very last sentence there. Just an utter lack of interest. I am not interested in this character. They were in Hawkeye, right?
Yes,
Echo
was in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Just didn't care for them then, and no reason to go back to it now.
There. I didn't like the character either in Hawkeye, to be honest. And I only watched what I've seen of it because of Daredevil.
Yeah, I think
which probably wasn't
something for being sad. I'm like, okay, that's good.
I think it's depressing and it's sad, yes. And then it throws things at you, like they make you think we should know these people, but we don't. And it just made me more frustrated because I was so lost. But anyway. And it is, I admire everyone who can do single issues. I tend to wait for collected editions due to the short attention span and impatience. I mean, collected's also cool because I don't remember a lot of stuff issue to issue. Because I read a bunch of crap and I watch a bunch of crap. So a lot of it gets lost in the crap shuffle, if you will.
Totally agree.
I guess he is also doing rapid fire comic rankings. Ultimate Spider-Man's #1, Transformers, Swan Songs, Fish Flies, and Rare Flavors. Okay, so Ultimate Invasion, it explains why Pete never became Spider-Man. So I guess we should read that, or I might read that.
Marvel homework.
I know. The other big book for me this week, other than Spider-Man, was that Zorro book we were talking about last week. Did you get to check this out?
I haven't got to read it. I got the Bermejo cover, and that was pretty much it for me. So I haven't read it yet, though.
Wow, it's a good time. It's a really cool time because it's not what I expected from a Zorro book. First of all, it's not a period piece.
Oh,
did you know that going into it?
Well, I assumed of a little bit of that because of Bermejo's cover. He's on a motorcycle, so I assumed some kind of modernization of it. But I just didn't know if that was just Bermejo being Bermejo and drawing a cool cover.
Maybe I saw the cover and I forgot. Because when I was reading it, it was like a total surprise that this is not a period piece. But it's really well done. The art is beautiful. The story is cool. It introduces a very neat, I want to say plot device. It's hard to explain without spoiling it, and it's a moment that you should just read instead of have it explained. And it works in the context of the story. Like, you don't really second guess it.
Okay.
So I highly recommend Zorro. I think it's called Man of the Dead or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, I was just sold because it's Zorro and I like Zorro.
Yeah, that was kind of with me. Like, I like Sean Murphy as a writer in general. The Morejo cover, and then Zorro's just awesome. Like, just kind of a cool character.
Come for the Zorro, stay for the story. Frank said Zorro is really good. Cool twist on the concept of Zorro. Yeah, it is a cool twist. It really is. I like it. Going back to Echo for a second, Ian says, I met David Mack, who created the Echo character at Comic-Con. He's good friends with a friend of mine, so yesterday I read some of his early Echo comics. She's cool, and the book's very different. Yes, I've heard the MCU one is a complete departure. I guess similar to the way Moon Knight is pretty different.
Okay.
I think they're on the same wavelength there. But we'll see what happens now that Feige's back.
Yes.
With, he's riding the ship, I suppose. Anthony asks, what did y'all think of the promotional images for Madam Web? The badly photoshopped image of them all in costume looks like a bad porn parody. I can't believe this movie was made. And to tie into that, Frank also says, we're counting down to Madam Web, fellas.
Is Frank serious, or is that sarcasm? Do you know?
Well, I'm serious because I'm looking forward to Madam Web.
Of course you are.
I am. I think it looks like a ball.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man, some other stuff.
Give me all the weirdness.
I do agree the costumes in that one shot look really bad.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a really bad Photoshop, like early 90s Photoshop. But I mean, it's just a poster, whatever. It's fine.
Sure.
The costumes themselves and other images and stuff, I think, look pretty decent. But it's also like really different styles of suit. Like, there's not a specific uniform. If that makes sense. Because, like, Spider-Man looks like Spider-Man pretty much in every version.
Sure.
The only one that's different is Amazing Spider-Man 1. Yeah, and it's just really a color palette thing. What's Amazing Spider-Man 1. And this, you got, like, it's just different. I'm excited. But not like, I'm not like, I have to see it or else I'm going to have an aneurysm or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
He says, I'm excited for Madam Web. Might see it twice. Oh, yeah. There was that video of Dakota Johnson. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay, so it's just Dakota Johnson talking about the movie, and she's looking straight at the camera and says, I think it's something like, you're going to love Madam Web, and you're going to see it twice. She like telling you you're going to see it? I don't know. It's fun.
Just the way she says it is strange?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm with Cookie. I might see it twice, too. As far as comics go, I think those are the main two I read and wanted to chit-chat about. I was pretty impressed with both of those.
Nice.
What'd you get up to?
Yeah, so same with Ultimate Spider-Man. And with Ian, I'll talk about Swan Songs number 6. I believe it's the finale for the short little series. And number 6 is a very interesting issue. It's each page is it's written like a kid's poem. It's all black and white. So there's no grids or anything. Oh, there is towards the middle. So it's written very differently. The story is very different. So it's written like it's a kid's poem, but the themes and the content is very mature. Talking about prostitution, suicide, drugs, a whole bunch of things. Yeah, it's a very interesting issue. And for it to be the last one, I think is kind of a stamp on a pretty great series overall. So if you get a chance to read number 6, Chris, I would recommend that. Again, you don't have to read the previous ones. I know you read the first one, but you don't have to read the next. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to read the 4 after that, then to read number 6. So I would check out number 6 on Swan Song's incredible issue. And the other one that I read was Action Comics 1061. It's the first issue with Jason Aaron on as writing.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so I actually did a little bit of research on what they were doing with Action Comics now, because I thought Jason Aaron was taking over the
Mhm.
run, but he's doing 3 issues, and then Joshua Williamson's coming on and doing 2 or 3 issues, and they're each character or each creator's telling us like a short story in 2 to 3 issues. So
Okay.
much like you did a little while ago, where you kind of binged Action Comics like Philip Kennedy Johnson's, it's not that kind of thing going forward for the next little while. It's just creators telling a story, ABC, and getting it over with. So the first issue in Jason Aaron's runs the Bizarro story, which I've
Mhm.
never read anything with Bizarro in before. I think I've only seen a cartoon with Bizarro in it, either from the Superman animated series or from a movie. I can't remember if he's in a movie or not.
I don't think he is. I could be wrong though.
It's
I
probably
know he's
just
in the
only
animated
animated.
series.
Yeah, so it's probably that's all, pretty much all I know from Bizarro. 1061 was a lot of goodness.
Okay.
It starts it like if you remember when we were reading or when we first read Batman Offworld, that first issue where you're
Mhm.
dropped right in the middle of things and you're like, what is going on here?
Mhm.
Jason Aaron does that with Action Comics 1061 as well. But as the story unfolds and the Superman story, is unfolded, the Clark story, the Bizarro story, which, just having those two together is clearly interesting. It's also not like their first ever meeting. They've had previous meetings before, so they know Clark knows how to talk to Bizarro, which I think is always fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, so the Bizarro story is first for 1061 was really interesting. It just got me more interested because after reading Offworld, I wasn't high on Jason Aaron in DC.
Mhm.
But with this shorter kind of story, Aaron's going to do 3 issues and then Joshua Williamson doing the rest after that. It's being brought out as a little more consumable for me. I love short stories, not once you have to
The short
invest
bursts are
an
always
entire
good.
year. Exactly. You don't have to invest a whole entire year into an Action Comics, which is fine at some point. But if you're talking about it or reading them weekly, it can be a little bit of a drain. So I had a great time with a Bizarro story and a cool Superman story. So again, Chris, I think you should check out 1061. Or if anybody else hasn't read it either, it's a good first launch for the post Philip Kennedy Johnson Action Comics.
It is on my list, so I
Mm-hmm.
will get to that one.
I'm trying to think. I think that was it for this week. I didn't read the newest issue of Fish Flies, and that's actually the first one that I hadn't read as well.
Oh, okay.
Aside from the stuff that's been on Lemire Substack, so that'll
Mhm.
be cool to read. From a couple weeks ago, there was just Batman 141. Just more of
That was really good.
yeah, the big battle between what the hell's his name?
Failsafe.
Yeah, Failsafe and Batman, and then with the reveal at the end with the Joker getting involved, and then Batman, Joker, and Joker Year One starting for 142. So that was good from a couple weeks ago. I think that was pretty much it that I read. I thought I read something else just yesterday. Oh, I read from a couple weeks ago, Animal Pound. I can't remember if we talked about it or not. Tom
No.
King.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned it. Yeah.
Did we talk about it? Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I like that, and that was a good time. I think that was pretty much it for my reads over the last little while because I can't remember. I read something just
I know we
yesterday other
both read
than
Dracula. Was that
shit.
yesterday?
Was that what it was from a little while ago?
That might have been. We both read that. I think we're both pretty high on it with the finale coming up.
So hot. Yeah, that was from that came out the day after or 2 days after Christmas. So obviously we didn't talk about that one. But yeah, one more issue of Dracula, which is crazy to think too.
And we're getting that Creature from the Black Lagoon book. I'm pretty amped for that one. Although I think Dracula set a standard, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited.
Yeah, that's going to be in our look ahead to 2024. It's going to be interesting what kind of position they take with the creature of the Black Lagoon, specifically going from Dracula, probably the most famous monster, to like is the creature from the Black Lagoon on the very bottom of well-known of those
No, I
Universal
think
monsters? You
I
think he's
think
pretty
he's
high?
pretty well. Yeah, I think he's pretty high. The visual of him is pretty epic. I would say that's what the kids say anyway. It's epic.
As kids.
Those kids, they slap. I don't know what else we would have read. I know there was a lot of stuff that came out in the last 2 weeks, and I've been trying to get to it,
Yeah.
but I haven't had the time. I did attempt to read the new Wolverine solo, the new issue of the Wolverine
Oh
solo
yeah.
book.
What was that?
It
40 or
kicked,
41 or something?
I forget, but it kicks off the new arc against Sabretooth, I got a few
Yeah.
pages into it, and it was just Krakoa stuff. I could not.
Jesus.
Yeah, and there was an image of Sabretooth ripping Cyclops' face apart.
Hmm.
Like it has some grisly imagery, which I'm on
Wow.
board with, of course, but not
Of
for
course.
this instance. When it's tied to Krakoa, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's another thing that we'll mention in 24, but Greg Capullo being on Wolverine after this Sabretooth run should be interesting.
Phil says, I can't wait for Madam Web. I might have to get the DeLorean fired up and go see it tomorrow. If you get your DeLorean running, pick me up because I want to go to Nosferatu and also Ghostbusters and Batman and a lot of stuff this year. Let me know. Frank says, smart idea for Action Comics after PKJ's long epic run. I never realized Bizarro would love magic.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarro's a fun character that I don't think people, or it's not people, it's not fans. It's just they don't know, they don't use him a lot because it's kind of like a one-trick pony in a way.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought. Just a guy who talks backwards and that kind of thing. But the stuff with him and Clark, just them talking as Clark's trying to get him to like settle down and whatever. It's really interesting the way the two interact with each other.
I like the Superman and Lois Bizarro actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's pretty interesting. And it says regarding the what did you watch? Did you see David Chase's commentary on how we're past the golden age of television and TV is getting stupider again? If so, thoughts. I'm actually not sure who David Chase is.
He's the creator of The Sopranos.
Oh, okay. Did you see this comment then?
I did see those comments, and it's a very blanket statement. There's incredibly smart TV all the time, and there's stupid TV, like there's always been. I think that's just a blanket statement from an older gentleman who is past their prime of making TV shows, and is just a grumpy old person now.
I kind of feel like every couple of months, we get a statement from a creator stating how it's not like how I make it.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, I get that, and that's your opinion, but why do we keep going back to these? You know what I mean? Like everybody's gonna like what they like, and that's fine. Scorsese's not gonna line up to watch Deadpool 3. That's okay.
Sure.
I'm still gonna line up to watch whatever he makes. I don't know why these comments drive people nuts. I guess is my point.
Yeah, and like the idea that we're past the golden age of television, like that's a very blanket statement. Like I'm sure he's talking about shows from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but that's from a different generation of people. Like I grew up watching shows from the 90s and 2000s, and like those are the best TV shows that I've ever seen because I don't watch the stuff from the 60s, 70s. That's not a new comment either, like the golden age of movies, golden age of television. But it's a blanket statement that doesn't need to be used because genres change, people change. To the way we consume TV, movies, and content changes. It's just not needed.
It's a great show. Clarissa Explains It All. Frank said David Chase wrote The Many Saints of Newark needs to relax. Yeah, that just came and went. Ian brings up a really good point here that I wanted to mention. Rare Flavors isn't talked about much from the Layla Starr creators. I thought it would be huge. I kind of did too. With Layla Starr being so gigantic, I thought this book would be blowing up, but hardly anybody talks about it. I haven't even read it.
Well, that's the weird thing, and I don't want to talk outwards, but for you and I personally, who love Layla Starr and was our favorite, I think it was our favorite comic book from that year. I read the first issue of Rare Flavors, and it just wasn't. I don't know, something about it just didn't vibe. I think it's going to be for me when this is all said and done, when there's a collected comes out, then I think I will read and appreciate it. But for on the outside, like I don't watch Lost in Comics top 3 every week, but I'm not sure how often Chris puts Rare Flavors on the top of his list, and I don't know how much is talked about overall from the outside world as well.
Rare Flavors is about vampires?
I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was about the food industry, and I didn't know it was about vampires.
I thought it was about a food truck. Maybe I need to get to it. Hey, Grabs.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was gonna say he just sold it on him.
Maybe you have sold me. We'll see. I think that covers our reads, though.
That covers the reads. Yep.
Onto the watches. I do have my letterbox. You have letterbox now. Have you been using it?
I was gonna say I can pull mine up whenever I need to. Chris finally talked me into Letterbox, so I'm keeping track of movies that I watched this year because I think by the time we got to do our 2023 best of list, I had forgotten most of what I had read. I'm not reviewing or putting stars on anything. I'm just keeping track of what I read.
That's what I do too.
So
I don't even tag that I watch them because you have the option to say you watched it. I don't even do that.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, well, I mean, the list is called movies I've watched in 2024, so I don't need to.
Sure.
And nobody sees the list but me anyway. Maybe it's public. I don't know. I have no idea. Do you want to go first on your watches?
Yeah, okay, I'll go first. So I got yeah, so I'm gonna go with 3 things to talk about. Two movies and a TV show. The first movie that I watched of a newer one was The Creator. That sci-fi one with what's his name, John David Washington. About AI again. So I was watching and I was thinking, oh, Chris is gonna love this. Loves AI right now. Big fan of sci-fi. Not the biggest fan of John David Washington, and still not by the time the movie came and went. Something about this guy I just don't like. I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it. I don't know if it's his voice or his mannerisms, or I don't know what it is. It really doesn't matter. Same reason I probably don't like Timothy Chalamet. I just don't like somebody for no reason.
Timmy loves you.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I thought The Creator was quite good. It looks incredible. Some of the acting is very good. Specifically, there's a young lead in the character's name's Alfie in the movie who was really, really great. I thought the story was good. It's slow and usually around the first or the 2/3 and maybe a little bit in the middle. It gets a little slow at certain points, but the finale is quite good. Action is good. Technology that they have in the future in the sci-fi is really good. But one of the interesting things and the thing that bugged me about it was Allison Janney is in it, or Janney? I think Janney. Yeah, she's a villain in the movie, which didn't vibe with me at all. I'm not sure how you get with that if you see someone who you know as a good person. Like they were in I, Tonya as Tonya Harding's mother, who's not a good person, but just something about like she's got a scar on her face, and also seeing her do an action, like she holds a gun and does action stuff.
Oh, that's neat.
Something about and she has a weird military haircut. Allison Janney it was just strange. It pulled me out of the movie every once in a while.
I didn't know she was in that.
Yeah, and I didn't know that either. And then I thought she was going to be around for a little bit and hoping, she was going to get killed off, but she didn't. She made it pretty far into the movie. But yeah, it's strange when an actor shows up and they're not who you think they are. And I guess that's the point of acting, but something about it bothered me.
When I hear her name or see her, I immediately think of 10 Things I Hate About You. She was she was the principal in that, and that's kind of where my mind goes. I love that movie. So.
Yeah. I just think of her from The West Wing.
I've never seen The West Wing.
Yeah.
I watched Creator again a couple days ago. Loved it even more the second time. Definitely a bit rushed at the end, but overall a great movie. Mm-hmm. Frank says Ava Washington doesn't have charisma. Same facial, zero range. I don't get him either.
Charisma is a good word.
I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff. I saw Tenet. I really like Tenet. I actually love Tenet. I don't know what else I've seen him in though. Yeah,
the Tenet's the first thing that I'd really seen him in, and I can't remember what I'd seen other than that. But he just I don't like him. I don't know why.
I think in Tenet I liked him, but it's also hard not to like somebody in a Nolan movie.
Sure.
He does what he does really well, and casting is one of those things.
Cool.
Or directing the cast, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't like the guy.
Yeah, Pattinson's great in it. He's so good in it. I love Pattinson. I gotta watch that movie again.
It's good.
So that's The Creator. I had a good time with that one. The other movie that I watched from a couple of years ago, but I watched Men. Mm-hmm. Alex Garland, who's kind of on my mind the past little while. So I watched Men the other day, and that was an experience, is one word for it. Specifically, the last 20 minutes of that movie, which are absolutely bonkers.
I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to my friend about it. I was like, "Yeah," I told him, "Oh, you should watch that." I'm like, "No, I read about it. That was enough for me." And that's pretty much what it is. The movie looks great, great cinematography, great acting, kind of an eerie feeling over the first, again, 3/4 of the movie, and then it kind of goes off the rails a little bit at the end. Messaging is it's on the nose a little bit about men in general, but it kind of puts its own spin on it. Probably one of those movies that you watch, you experience, you say, "Wow, that was something," and then you never go back to again. But I was on an Alex Garland kick, and I just wanted to
Like it is.
flesh out. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I still recommend the movie. I wouldn't say it was, a good movie or a bad movie. It was just kind of one of those movies that you experience as it goes along. You get told things as it goes along. You get shown things as it goes along, and then by the end of it, you're saying to yourself, "Okay, I get it. We don't need to see it, but we do. We get hit over the head with it a little bit too much." But it's an interesting idea. But it's a woman who goes, her fiance dies horribly in a certain way, and she goes kind of on a vacation to a Scottish or English little cabin, and she gets there, and all the men in the town look exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
and
hadn't heard
then
that detail.
yeah, like they're all played by the same actor in different ways, which is kind of a cool idea. Even there's kids and with their face kind of CGI'd onto a body, which is a little off putting. But yeah, so then weird shit starts to happen, and she's the only woman in this town, and getting getting mansplained about things and not believed about things, and all of those things, all of those good things. So yeah, like on the premise at the start of it, like that thing about a woman goes to a town and all the men are exactly the same, and it plays off a little bit like a horror movie. But then as the goes along, even the ending is quite horrific, I will say, but it takes a turn for sure.
I might check that. I remember wanting to see it, but I'm not a big Alex Garland fan.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. I am a huge Alex Garland fan. I love Annihilation. I love Ex Machina.
I
Love
like Ex
28,
Machina, but
28 days later, 28 weeks later that they wrote. Um, and then again, another thing that we're going to talk about in our 24 list is Civil War is coming out. So I just wanted to kind of flesh out more of my Alex Garland thing, and that quickly switches over to my TV watch. Again, something that I caught up on, what was called Devs, written and directed by Alex Garland, about a guy who gets invited to join a secret tech company, or a subsection of a tech company, to create something that we don't know about. And he gets there, and we find out that he's secretly a Russian spy, and he tries to steal the information, and then is killed for trying to steal the information. And then his girlfriend spends the next 6 or 7 episodes trying to figure out what happened to her boyfriend, because they hide and cover up his death. And then we find out what this devs thing is, and what the tech company is trying to do, which is pretty crazy, incredible, visually striking what they get up to. Acting is great in that. It's got Nick Offerman in it, Alison Pill. Really, really great stuff from Devs. Probably one of the best TV shows I'd ever seen. Or is going to be one of my favorite shows that I've watched for sure. If I have to make a top 10 or top 5 list or whatever, Devs was really, really well done. And much like the weird Ex Machina, Annihilation, Men stuff from Alex Garland, that stuff's not here. There's no weird
I might like this
like
then.
that. Exactly. It's pretty straight up sci-fi and technological based, mixed in with some spy stuff, which was the stuff that I wasn't expecting, like Russian spies, American spies. Yeah. So I would recommend Devs for sure. I couldn't stop watching it. It's one of those ones where I needed to finish the show because it was so great. So those are my watches over the last little while there, Chris.
Well, I do want to see Devs. The way you described it sounded good, even when we talked about it before. So that I will probably get to sooner than later. I'm kind of at a standstill at 6 Feet Under at the moment.
Break time. It's break time.
Right, yeah, especially after the premiere of season 3, I need to let that marinate a little bit longer. Not a fan of that premiere at all. Feels like it's a different set of creators and writers, and I don't know what's going on. But I'll get back to it. Maybe I'll watch Devs in between since it's not that long. So far this year, I've watched a few things. I did watch Rebel Moon. I don't want to get too far into it. It's okay. It's not really for me. I'll watch the sequel when it comes. What I did like, though, that I watched was... Have you ever seen Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit with Chris Pine and Keira Knightley?
No. I often forget that one exists.
I did too. But when it came out, like was in theaters, I wanted to see it. I never got around to it. And the trailers, after watching it, the trailers paint a very different picture of what this movie is. The trailers make it look like it's a nonstop action film where Keira Knightley may also be a secret agent of some sort. The movie is not like that at all.
All right.
But the movie's very entertaining. I enjoyed it. It made me want to go back and see the other Jack Ryan films because I think I've only seen the Ben Affleck one. Some of all.
Oh, you haven't seen the Harry Ford ones, eh?
No, I haven't. And I know the character, like, there's no continuity between these films except maybe the two Harrison Fords.
Right.
So I'd like to go back and see those. I like this one enough. And it's got a really good cast in this one, which I know they all have their own cast, but still, this was a good place for me to start. I've heard the other ones are better anyway. I think Hunt for Red October is probably the one I'll get to first. Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, that works for me.
I never think of that one as a Jack Ryan one for some reason. I don't know.
I didn't know it was.
Probably because it doesn't have Jack Ryan in the name.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like what you would have put Jack Ryan with, I think. Because I always thought Jack Ryan was sort of like James Bond, or like a less amped up Ethan from Mission Impossible. Yeah, like, that's kind of what I thought he was. Less amped up Ethan Hunt, but I guess he can do anything and be anybody.
Yeah, he can do anything.
Right. I know I mentioned Saltburn last week. I'm going to mention it again. It's wonderful, and it's demented, and I love it.
Wonderful. I definitely wouldn't. I've never heard anyone say that about that movie. That's for sure.
There are people who think it's wonderful. I think Cookie does too, if she's still in the comments.
Right.
She believes it's also a wonderful film.
There you go.
And so does Phil.
Well, then you're just living it up with your two best buddies, thinking this movie wonderful, just like you, eh?
The group is wonderful.
That's.
I rewatched X-Men. Everybody knows I love that. See, there we go. It is wonderful. I told you.
Oh yeah, it is wonderful. Yeah.
There you go. Murder on the Dance Floor. I rewatched X-Men. Everybody knows I love that. I watched Migration. That was a pretty good time for an animated film.
Oh, good.
I think even the little guy will like it. And last night, this is the last movie I wanted to talk about. I rewatched the RoboCop remake, which I hadn't seen in a long time.
Oh yeah.
At the time when it was released, I liked it a lot. I thought that it was missing a few key things that put it on the same, put it on par with the original.
Okay.
But I also think it does things better, some things better, and I still think that after watching it last night. I think Joel Kinnaman brings a humanity to Murphy.
Sure.
And I really appreciate that. I also think I love Joel Kinnaman.
I like Joel Kinnaman mostly too, yeah.
Yeah, something about him. He's very likable in anything he does. And I did see that other movie, Silent Night, and I liked that too recently. He was also in Sympathy for the Devil. So I've seen a lot of Joel Kinnaman lately. I haven't rewatched Suicide Squad, which I'm not talking about at all. But I enjoyed rewatching RoboCop. I thought that was a good time. I still wish it would have got a sequel, just because they had a really good idea here. You're giving him more humanity and more of a character instead of just robot soldier.
Right.
But the interesting thing about this that I was reading last night, this movie is based on a draft of the original script, which was meant to be more serious.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I never knew that was a thing. I thought RoboCop was always supposed to be a satire, like we do get. Like we did get. So that was a fun tidbit. I'm also going to go down the RoboCop rabbit hole and rewatch those as well soon.
Oof, they get bad real quick.
Oh, they do, but I love them.
Yeah.
When he's flying in the third one and it makes zero sense and he's fighting a guy with a katana, it's beautiful.
Beautiful mayhem.
Mayhem is wonderful, especially when there's a man in a robot suit.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Megan says, The Hunt for Red October is a childhood classic. I vividly remember my dad renting it from the local rental store. What's a rental store? This guy.
Mm-hmm.
What are you, 40?
Blockbuster.
Crap says, I can never make it through The Hunt for Red October. I fall asleep every single time. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I have sleeping problems. Ian says, RoboCop and Shadow Recruiter, 2 movies I'll never watch again. Like what you like. I need to complete this trilogy, and what is another thing you won't watch? Frank rewatched Tremors. Still love that. Wish they would have rebooted it. I've never seen Tremors. Have you?
Oh, I love Tremors. I used to watch. That was one of those R-rated movies I watched when I was a kid.
Is that the one with Kevin Bacon and the little round things with teeth?
They're not. No. They're big, huge ass mothers. They're smaller in the sequels. I think it's the third one.
I remember seeing a different movie. I thought it was the movie where there's like these round ball, like demon balls that
they're
roll
big,
around eating people.
No, they're huge ass like snakes, like snake whale things.
Critters.
I'm
confused with Crit. I thought it was the same thing.
Not critters. No.
Tremors is PG-13.
Did you see the quotations? Grabs. If you weren't watching, I did quotations. R-rated when I was a kid. Give me a break, man.
RoboCop is R-rated.
There's blood. That one Asian supermarket guy gets eaten by one of those things, and there's blood everywhere.
80s PG-13 movies are basically rated R movies.
Yeah, that's right.
There's wild shit in those movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised Lost Boys. Is Lost Boys rated R? Let's see. Lost Boys is rated R. I'm surprised.
There you go.
I thought it would have been PG-13 because anything went in those 80s films. Is what it is. On the TV side of things, I just watched a lot of Young Sheldon.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, and I already talked about Echo. Didn't enjoy it. That was that. I might finish. I might not.
Time to move on.
But I'm very excited that we might get Foggy and Karen back for the Daredevil series. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for that if it happens. I'm too busy. All right, guys.
All right, guys. So that's what we read and what we watched over the last week or two, and let's take a look ahead to 2024. What Chris and I are excited. Maybe what are you guys excited for? To start with, in 2024. Is that where you want to start, Chris? You want to start with TV?
I will start wherever you want. I think TV. Let's start with comics, then TV, then movies.
All right. So I made a kind of a list of some comics that I know are coming out. Obviously, comics are only solicited until the end of March right now. But the first one I got, Chris, is the end of the X-Men Krakoa era. That is the biggest thing for one of the biggest things for Marvel, I think, this year is the kind of the relaunching of X-Men after the end of the Krakoa era.
I know that's coming, and I want to be excited for it, but it's been
that doesn't make you excited?
No, I mean, I'll be excited once we get past the first wave of books. I think because from what I've seen, the first wave post Krakoa do not interest me.
Oh, that's not good.
No, but I'll take another look. Maybe I'll change my mind. Like Wolverine's even included in that. I don't know about the new, because I think it's gonna be a Wolverine #1, and of course, like we said, it's a lie. That's fine. It's Wolverine. I get it. But I'm not really sure about the new creative team on that.
Is that the one with Capullo? Greg Capullo is on? Yeah.
Yeah. I forget who the writer is.
Okay.
I don't think Percy's coming back. I think Percy's doing something else.
So that's one thing. The other thing I got, and this is pretty recent coming out in 2 or 3 weeks, is the Joker Year 1 story in Batman 142, 143, and 144 from Chip Zdarsky, Giuseppe Camicoli, and Andrea Sorrentino on art. So that's the big Batman one for coming out. And I know we're both excited for that one.
Which one?
Joker Year 1.
Oh, yes. Very excited for that.
Yeah, the other Batman one I have is Batman Dark Age. I don't know. I can't recall if you read the first issue of the Superman Space Age book.
No,
that
but
came
I
out
was
this
actually
year?
browsing the DC app, the Infinite app, and it's on there, so I'm gonna read that.
Mm.
There's a bunch of stuff on it I didn't expect. Like they have the whole Batman Gothic there. It's like 500 pages. I'm excited to check that out too, which will probably take me all year. But
Yeah, so the same creative team are doing Batman Dark Age, which I think will be pretty cool to check out. Yeah, obviously we got the new Moon Knight, Vengeance of Moon Knight, that just launched. I think it did launch in 23 at the end of
yeah,
23 or just launched in 24.
no. I think it was first week of 24.
Nice. So yeah, that's we get to see where Moon Knight goes in 2024 because it would appear that he ain't going anywhere. That's for sure.
No. My comics is I'm really just waiting for stuff to finish. That's what
Sure.
most of my ones I'm excited about are. Like I want to see how The Devil That Wears My Face ends.
Right.
I'm really excited for that. Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Can See or Nobody Sees. That I think that's gonna be one of my favorite books of this year. That finale, most likely, along with Dracula. And then, like I said, the Joker book. I'm hoping to get into some X-Men this year at some point. But other than that, like the only like new book I could think of is the Creature book.
Yeah, so I got that written down too. Just kind of the ever expanding universe of the universal monsters. So the Creature from the Black Lagoon is another 4-issue story, which is great. It's being written by Dan Waters and Ram V, which is great.
Very interested in that team
good,
up there.
Good team up. So then I'm wondering, I think Dracula ends. I think that comes out at the end of this month.
Yes, this will be the last.
So then there's a break in February, and then Creature comes out in March. So I wonder if we do, Creature March, April, May, June, and then I wonder if we take another break, and then hopefully we get another Universal monster later in the year. I think would be cool.
Yeah, I went Frankenstein or Phantom.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, and that's why I was kind of wondering why they went with Creature first, and that's why I thought maybe he was the lesser known of the monsters. That's why I was kind of surprised by it.
There's just not a lot of stuff with him versus the other ones where there's like a bunch of stuff to mine. I think that's why. But I could be wrong.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty light on the comics just because a lot of times, well, most of the time, I just kind of see what's coming out that week. If it's number one, I'll probably read it. If I don't like it, it's fine.
Yeah, I got 3 other ones on here. So I got the big Ghost Machine launch, the Jeff Johns and all of those books that have come along with that. I've got Helen of Windhorn, which is the Tom King and I can't pronounce their name, Bilquis Elvey, I think. They did Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow.
Yes.
So they've got a new story coming out, original story. I think it's through Image or Dark Horse, can't recall. But they've got one coming out, so I like that team together. And then I've just got more distillery books that are coming out this year. The Scott Snyder White Boat, I think, is coming out this year. There's a Brian Azzarello story that's coming out this year. And then the James Tynion distillery book is also coming out this year. So that's kind of my hope for distillery because I like the first 2 entries. We got in 23 of those.
I think distillery's going to have a good year. With Somna starting already, Gone, and then those other ones, I think they're going to have a big year.
Yeah, 100%.
Excited to see what they do. And hopefully I like the second issue of Somna better than the first one.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, and I haven't looked to see how long these are going to run for. If they're just a couple issues or if they're ongoing.
I got the impression they're like miniseries.
Yeah, so maybe like 3? Or
maybe 3 or 4. It seems like most indie books, that's how they run anyway. There's not that many ongoing indie books like Saga or something like that. They seem to just have these bursts of issues and then they're done.
For sure.
Which works for me.
Yeah, so that's kind of our little comic look ahead.
Got some comments about the books. And
yeah, what do they got?
Grabs open the 4th book and the Gentleman Bastard series comes out. I'm not familiar with that. You're going to have to tell me about that one. He is looking forward to Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. He got last year's hardcover yesterday. I would like to read the Last Ronin.
I've only read the first issue.
I have looked at all the covers. Frank says the first post-wave, the first wave post-Krakoa is probably going to be about the post-era Krakoa. That's what X-Men does. Yes, that is
That's
my
going to
worry.
be so annoying.
That is my worry. I want to get away from Krakoa as far as we can possibly get. Please leave it in the past. I don't want it. If you liked it, you liked it. That's cool.
Yeah.
More power to you. Frank also said that everything I love from last year still continuing to 2024. Future big comet stuff hasn't been announced. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I like
Yeah.
what we've got still going.
Yeah, like there's going to be there's going to be summer. There's going to be events for the big two, the big two. All
Yeah,
that kind
we'll
of
get
stuff.
some of that.
Yeah, there'll be lots of comics coming out this year that we don't even know about. That's the same for all of it, though, TVs and movies.
Mm-hmm. Ian says I packed up all my games last night because I'll be playing one from Friday. Cannot wait. Is that Last of Us?
Yeah, part 2 comes out on the remaster comes out Friday.
That'll be fun. Phil says I'm checking out Monster Spade on AMC. What is that? I haven't heard of that.
I don't know that either.
Yeah. So that's the comics. Now we move
Yeah,
on
where do you
to
want to go next? TV. Okay.
television.
So yeah, Cookie mentioned it, that True Detective starts tonight. Season 4 of True Detective, Night Country. I didn't watch season 3, but I watched the first 2 seasons. Enjoyed the first season a lot. 2 is okay. So I'm going to check this out. I'm not sure if I'll watch it religiously or even if I'll watch it tonight, but I'll definitely be checking out True Detective Night Country.
I've not seen any True Detective, but I kind of want to check it out if we talked about it.
Yeah, you would definitely love True Detective. Hard yes on that one. Trailer just came out 2 days ago or yesterday. Curb Your Enthusiasm season 12, the final season, is not that far away. So that's something I'm looking forward to this year. And then I've got Fallout on here. It's supposed to come out this year.
Yeah,
You have any interest in Fallout?
Yeah, the show looks pretty good.
Yeah, so that Fallout, and then what's the other one I got on here? The Boys season 4 comes out this year as well. That's something I'm looking forward to.
That's cool.
You got anything on your TV list that you can think of?
Not much. X-Men '97. I'm very excited for that.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
Yes, very excited for that. I think Cape Crusader will be sometime this year. Maybe. I don't know.
Hopefully, Jesus.
It'd be nice. We'll see. Cape Crusader. The top of my list is Interview with the Vampire, though, season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I care about other than X-Men. I mean, if the other 2 come out, great. I don't know if they will. But Interview with the Vampire is the top of my list.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I got the Penguin on here, too. I forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah, the Penguin.
Yeah. But yeah, Interview with the Vampire season 2 should be quite interesting, that's for sure.
I am so excited.
I've got what's that?
I say there's like spoilers leaking now and stuff I already know happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to see everybody kind of freak out about it, but I've seen that. House of Dragon is my number one thing this year. I forget House of Dragon's even coming, but yes. Oh, and Masters of the Universe. That too.
Oh yeah.
And
you like.
Masters of Air looks amazing. Oh yeah, I did want to see that too. I forgot about that.
What's that one?
It's a series with Barry Keoghan and I think Jacob Elordi about fighter planes.
Wait a second. The cast of Saltburn?
That's yes. From what I understand, Jacob Elordi mentioned Barry Keoghan to Emerald Fennell, and that's how he got the role.
Oh, interesting.
They actually had someone else in mind, your buddy, Timothy Chalamet.
Of course they did.
And now I cannot see Barry's role going, like, I can't picture that. Especially because Barry put a lot of himself, pun intended, into the movie.
Oh, good.
You don't even know the half of it. I wish you'd watch it.
Good.
Ian says 3 Body Prom is on my most anticipated list. I'm not sure what that is.
That's the creators of Game of Thrones, or the writers from Game of Thrones.
Oh, right. I did want to, yeah, based on that concept, I wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Grabs is right. It's a movie as well. Or a book, sorry.
Penguin. Yeah, so that's basically my anticipated show. Just give me an Interview with the Vampire. Everything else is just take it as it comes. And Penguin.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Young Sheldon is also something that you're heavy into right now, and that's this. I think it starts within a couple weeks.
It does, but I don't know if I'll be caught up enough to watch it.
You're right.
I still have the one season to go.
You're there. You're there, man.
I'm close.
All right, let's move on to movies then. So I got a crap ton here.
Okay. I do too.
Dune Part 2 is something I'm obviously looking forward to. Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're both excited for that one. Kingdom
Yeah,
of
so far
Planet
we're
of
two
the
for
Apes.
two.
Yeah, I'll go off that 2 for 2 right now and go Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
That is off
Something
the
that I'm digging this year, and then Furiosa is something that I'm really interested in seeing this year.
3 out of the 4.
Yeah, not bad, not bad, not bad.
That's a decent ratio. I thought you had more movies.
Oh, I got more. I got Deadpool 3, which I don't care about, but you're excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Beetlejuice 2, interested in that one. Joker 2. I got Nosferatu on here as well. And then Civil War is one that I'm interested in seeing as well, as a lovely Canadian.
I wonder how it'll play to an international audience.
I'm wondering how it's going to play the domestic audience.
I'm worried how it's going to play to the domestic audience.
Yeah.
My anticipated stuff is a lot of good horror coming. So Abigail, which was on my radar before, but it was called something else when they were so Abigail has an interesting story because the script was shopped around for a while as something else. I don't want to say what it is because it might be a spoiler at this point, but it was shopped around as one thing. Then the trailer comes out, it's called Abigail now, and it's from the team that did Ready or Not and 2 of the Scream movies. So all in on that. It's a vampire movie, so of course that's and it comes out on my birthday, so that's kind of like a win-win for me.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, easy peasy. Got that. Nosferatu to knock out the vampire films of the year. Need both of those inject those in my veins. Beetlejuice 2 is a huge one for me. I love Tim Burton, as most know. Beetlejuice is one of my absolute favorites of his. So got to get to that. Dune 2 is really big on my list, like you mentioned. So is Furiosa. Mad Max Fury Road was the first Mad Max movie I'd seen before. I was blown away by that.
Yeah.
That Fury Road is something special. And so this one I'm pretty amped for too. I also like the casting of Anya Taylor-Joy. I think that's a choice.
It is.
Obviously, you couldn't bring back Theron because of the age difference. I get it. So I'm very curious how this will work. So that's a big one for me. The biggest one is Deadpool 3.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's your most anticipated for the year?
Yeah, Deadpool 3. Wow. Return of the King, July 2024. I am so excited for it.
Return of the King. You can't. That's blasphemy right there.
It is not it is Return of the King, 2024, July. Put it on your calendars. Once I see the helmet or the headgear in an official photo, I apologize to everyone for what is about to happen. It's going to be terrible, probably. What's going to happen? Not the movie. The movie's going to be solid. But I think those are my most anticipated. And I watch a lot of stuff anyway, so I'm sure something will come up along the way that I'm into. Oh, and Ghostbusters. You mentioned that already, but Ghostbusters. Yeah,
from the ones that are coming out fairly recent, like within the next 4 or 5 months, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire is probably my most anticipated movie because I had such a great time with that in theaters, and then when you're watching it again at home with my family, it was just a perfect movie for me.
There's a lot of stuff kind of like Lisa Frankenstein. I'm really excited for the next couple of months.
Oh, is that the Maggie Gyllenhaal one?
No, the Maggie Gyllenhaal one is this one Cookie's asking about. Is Bride of Frankenstein remake scheduled to come out this year? I don't think it is. And I don't think the other Frankenstein is scheduled this year either. I think they're both just filming.
What is Lisa Frankenstein?
Lisa Frankenstein is like an 80s take on Frankenstein. From what the trailer looks like, a lady creates a Frankenstein. She makes her own Frankenstein and takes him on dates, and it's her boyfriend, I suppose.
Oh, right then. It's a comedy?
Yes, it's a horror comedy.
Now we're talking. Okay. Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, it's called Lisa Frankenstein. Looks awesome.
Yeah.
It has Catherine Newton as Lisa Frankenstein.
Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes, very excited. I'll show you the trailer after this. You
Yeah,
might
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Joker 2 and the Planet of the Apes are the only things that I will see in theaters this year. Those are two big ones. I'm excited for Joker 2, really just because of Lady Gaga and the musical aspect.
Yeah, that's it for me too. Yeah.
Phil says Joker 2 is my most anticipated. Cookie says I'm excited for Joker 2 more than I thought I would be. Yeah, same. I don't.
Cookie, do you think that's just because of the Lady Gaga factor? Like factor. What the fuck? Like Chris is talking about in the musical themes. Is that why you're excited for it?
I'd like to know what factor everybody's excited about.
Yeah, Gaga factor.
I want to attach an accent to that, but I don't know what one. Frankenstein teen rom-com, sign me up. I don't know if they're teenagers. They could be. I don't know, but it looks really fun. Ian says, seeing the in-theater act of Mean Girls being a musical has me interested in seeing how people respond to Joker 2. So the thing about that is I've been noticing that too, and it's really something because the trailers don't tell you it's a musical. I think that's the problem. The trailers make it look like it's just a shot-for-shot remake of Mean Girls when it's actually based on the Broadway play. And I think that's the mistake.
Yeah, my wife is a huge fan of the Mean Girls movie, and I told her that the new one was a musical, and she was surprised by it after seeing. And the same with Wonka too. I didn't know it was a musical until I got to the theater and was watching it.
Another one.
So they're not advertising these musicals as musicals. And with the Joker 2, they told us a year and a half ago. It feels like that the movie was a musical.
They did, but they told us Wonka wasn't, so was Mean Girls, but we didn't see it in the trailer. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if the trailer is gonna. I think it would do them a service. It would be beneficial if they show it is a music. Well, it's not totally musical. Parts of it are musical.
Are musicals box office friendly?
Musicals? I think it depends on what it is. Like Moulin Rouge was a big hit. Chicago was a big hit. Sweeney Todd, I think, was a decent sized hit. But those are musicals that, they wore the genre on their sleeve. You watch the trailer, you understand this is a musical. And in those other cases that we just mentioned, like Mean Girls, there's one trailer that has music in it, but it doesn't necessarily tell you it's a musical. So I think that's
Right.
Cookie says it is the Gaga and musical thing that's swaying her. Yeah, I think that's the thing. The musical in Joker 2 is a big swing. Gaga will be the unifier, I think. I believe we're going to get a swarm of little monsters to this movie. That's what she calls her fans. A swarm of little monsters to this movie, along with the art house guys who like the first one, and then just the fans of Joker, and DC people.
Well, and like that, I think Joker 2 is going to be big opening and ideas around it because they made a sequel to a movie that almost everyone said this one doesn't need a sequel, but they're giving us a sequel, and they're also changing the themes of the movie. They're changing the genre of the movie, and they're also adding one of the biggest musical stars in the entire world.
And she's a pretty great actress.
Very popular and great actress as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the marketing or just the idea of the movie alone will help sell it.
Yeah, Cookie said she had no idea that it was a musical. The trailers just don't show it. It looks like a shot-for-shot remake.
Yeah.
I've heard aside from the musical bits, it actually is. Like, they use the same jokes and everything.
It's weird.
The same movie. I want to see it, but I'll probably see it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a hurry to go to that.
Any other movies? I don't know if there's any other ones. I kept thinking about Steven Spielberg for some reason. There was no Steven Spielberg movie in 2023?
I don't think there was.
And I don't know if he has a movie coming out, I don't know if he has a movie coming out in 2024, which is strange to think of.
Oh, he had, I actually love that. It was with Paul Dano. It was like loosely based on his life. What was that movie?
The Fabelmans. That wasn't last year. That was the year before, was it not?
That was last year. Maybe I just watched it last year. I really enjoyed The Fabelmans quite a bit.
Yeah, 2022.
Oh, okay. It must have come out at the end of the year then. Oscar season.
Now I gotta check out Steven Spielberg's IMDb page.
Frank says Philip's take on Joker has a unique mystique about it. It transcends comic book stuff. Mom and Dad will watch. Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing with Joker. It appeals to people who don't want to watch a comic book film. I think that is part of it. I'm going to rewatch this movie because I haven't seen it since the theater and I didn't like it. Maybe I'll think something differently. Ian mentions Twisters might be fun. I forgot Twisters is coming out. I want to see Twisters.
Twisters.
Yes,
Oh,
Twisters.
fun.
It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's just a movie about that is linked to Twister.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting thing because they clearly said it's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's just another movie in this series. Like I guess like the Cloverfield movies.
Right. Yeah. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
And then the other ones, I don't know what they're called.
Oh, the space one or whatever.
Yeah.
That came out on Netflix. Right. Yeah.
I think the new Leprechaun is also out this year. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was canceled.
What? No, it wasn't. Ian says I'm a big Sonic guy. Looking forward to Sonic 3. I forget that's coming out this year. This year feels like
I'll watch that for sure.
So much got pushed to this year.
Right.
From last year because of the strike. I'm actually not even sure what we're getting completely.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I didn't go month by month. I just typed in, hey, most anticipated movies for 24 and just pulled some off of a list. So I'm sure there's a lot more towards the end of the year that'll draw our attention.
I don't know if the animated Lord of the Rings is coming. They said it is, but I don't know. We haven't seen anything from it.
No, we have not.
I'm hoping it comes out. I would like another Lord of the Rings thing to consume.
Lord of the Rings, anything.
Column game. But.
Yeah. All right, so that's some of our movies that we're excited to watch this year. Movies that will fill up Chris's letterbox and will fill up my watches at the end of 2023 and into 2020 or 2024 and into 2025 when I get caught up on everything.
It'll be fun. It's gonna be a good year. Sure. You got a lot of stuff to look forward to.
Oh well, and I think we talked about that as well. Like 2023 was a good year. I think 2024 is going to be a fine year.
There's always something to watch, and
always something to watch. And it's always stuff that we'll be surprised about as well, which is always fun. Like a movie like Talk to Me or something like that. Something that surprises you in a certain way.
Yeah. Memory's a monster.
There you go. All right, guys. So that's our show for this fine Sunday. Chris, let's wrap it up, and you can tell people where they can find you.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. All the stuff I do is on there. Emmett's better with the rest of the plugs. I'd love to follow the show at G of the Geeks. He's going to take over.
You can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your darn podcasts. So just search for Gathering of the Geeks and you'll find us right there. Thanks, Ian, Frank, Phil, Cookie, Grabs.
Matthew was in here for a minute.
Matthew Anderson at the start. Anthony as well. And yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching on this fine Sunday evening. We'll be back next week with some more bullshit. So for Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a great week.